Great. Spotting. In the bottom left-hand side of Juggernaut LE, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming in South Korea, he is Zest.
And his opponent in the top right, representing the Afrika Freaks, he is one of the best players 2020 and 2021 has to offer. The Red Protoss player, also from South Korea, it's Trap. Okay, some slight differences.
So far, Grant,
already.
Everything looking good this game.
Yeah, slight
I'm
differences
excited.
in gas
Ooh,
timings,
hey.
but that's all.
Very early gas here from Trap. Now, this is sometimes indicative of Stargate builds, and I'm excited to see if he goes for that again. He did go for some Stargates in his builds against Raynor, especially in that game 3, but I was only about half watching the game, trying to do some other admin on the backside. But I feel like his Stargate play didn't really do all that much. He went Mass Void Ray off of 2 Stargates, but it didn't close out the game for him.
It's very difficult for Mass Void Rays in that matchup to close out. It feels like Hydras do trade very, very well. And whenever you try to make that carrier transition, you're just too vulnerable. This map so far, we do see Trap hiding a probe in the very top left of the map. It's been there a long time. Zest has his double gateway going down. He doesn't have fire on that pylon. It is going to be a fake proxy by the looks of things, where he's going to put the pylon down and just run away from it. So Zest is going to see there is a missing pylon, anticipate the possibility of a proxy, and Trap is just going to do everything else at home. Moving across the acceleration zone generator now, going to come down for a scout, and he will make sure, I imagine, that Zest sees him coming from a strange angle. So he thinks he's definitely been proxied. He's actually going back through the middle now, so it is going to look relatively normal. But Zest knows there is a pylon missing right now. He is going to prepare for that. He's going to go double Adept to open things up here. And Zest's Adepts have been pretty deadly so far. My concern is... Oh, that's... frustrating. I mean, getting the scout isn't the end of the world here. There's not really anything to show or hide. The probe will die for this, certainly, as those 2 Adepts pop out here for Zest and will blow him up. You can see at the top side, actually, Zest is really looking for that proxy. He doesn't know what's going on.
Sorry, I'm reminding chat to be cool. Massive stalkers out here for Trap, and as you said, yeah, Zest poking around, trying to find the proxy and dropping a little proxy pylon of his own. Zest leaving his probe there, indicative that he may actually want to drop something at this location. I'd be surprised if that were the case, as his tier 2 tech is going to be Robo Grant. Very interesting choice out of Zest. Probably the rarest choice that people have if you're in a PvP. Robo is maybe the least seen.
Zest is going to be Zest. He has hidden the Twilight Council, and I can promise you, well, no, I'm not going to promise, but I'm pretty certain that's not the only building that's going to be hidden in this location here. It is most likely going to be a very quick prism out of that Robo and a Dark Shrine coming proxied as well. And if Trap isn't ready and he is going Stargate, which can be scary, if he doesn't scout this could be game ending for Trap. He needs to have Revelation or catch the prism early. He really needs to figure out what he's playing against, because this is going to be very intimidating here for Trap. There is that Dark Shrine. We will be seeing a prism start off pretty shortly. A whole bunch of Adepts coming from Zest as well. And Trap going to be under siege here.
Yeah, Trap going to be under some very difficult pressure here. Zest getting a lot of Adepts out to sort of throw Trap off the trail, maybe thinking it's some sort of wild glaive Adepts or something like that. But of course, not going to be the case. I love it because if you get the Adepts out, oftentimes you want to see somebody, if you have Adepts across the field, oftentimes you want to get some more Phoenix in the count, or maybe even add onto your Stalkers to try and fight them away, get those Blink Stalkers in and do some damage. Trap's going to show these Phoenix, and that's got to be really, really exciting for Zest, who says, oh, lots of Phoenix on the map. That probably means you're a little bit delayed with that Robo. It is going to go down now, and now it's a race against the clock. Luckily, Zest has no forward pylon and no Warp Prism yet to get those DTs in place. The Warp Prism coming across now, but it's going to be a while before you can find a safe place to move in and warp in with all these Phoenix on the map.
Yeah, the Adepts right now were trying to play the baiting game, and it didn't quite work out. The Prism is going all the way around and will most likely drop in the natural here. The Robo, 75% done here for Trap. But does he make an Observer straight away, or will he go? No, he's going to make an Observer now because he knows what's coming his way. Sentry going to be walked in. That's probably going to force for the ramp. No, it didn't see it in time. Oh, it did. That's so big. Okay, the natural is going to get absolutely mullered here. But that's not too bad. Sentry will go down. The force field is going to run out. There is another one available, though. And all of the probes just running away. Trap is handling this beautifully so far, actually. I mean, there's no way there's going to be just enough here.
Yeah, this is really nice. Look at on the other side of the map. He's got plenty of pressure as well. He's going to lose a few probes of his own, but he'll counter by getting some stalkers and adepts. And look at how low this nexus is for Zest. Even if Zest gets a bit of good economic damage done, which it looks like this is going to get picked up by the Phoenix with the Observer out now, and the DT harass will be over. But even if if Zest were to have gotten some good damage done, if Trap's able to take this nexus down, Grant, that is going to be a huge blow for Zest, who's got a big risk going DTs against Trap.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in this game, it is all but over. I hate to say it. Zest losing the natural there is just awful. He's going to be massively behind and forced to go all in, and you can see he's doing exactly that. 3 more gateways on the way. He can't really even afford to use 5 gateways worth of units. It's kind of crazy to see. He's going to make an Archon and start Archon dropping, which is cute. I don't mind it, but Trap right now, all he has to do is defend. He's getting a Forge, which is okay. Yeah, that's what I was wanting to see. As long as he has a shield battery, this shouldn't be too difficult. The Immortal is out. That's going to be able to chunk through the Stalkers and even the Archon just a bit. And Zest is 1/3 almost the supply of his opponent. And okay, now half. And it's not looking good here, Grant.
Very importantly, Trap did use his Observer to go out and see where these units were. He knew there was attack coming. He didn't know exactly what the composition of the attack was until that Observer got out. And now that he knows what's happening, he's going to go ahead and sack these Phoenix on top of the Void, top of the Warp Prism. Absolutely worth it to get that Warp Prism down. With the Warp Prism gone, the aggressive potential for Zest's army is diminished, and he knows that he's not going to be able to win this one. GG. Trap grabs game number 1. His what is it, 3rd consecutive game? Or no, he didn't. So anyway, he's always won at least 1 game in all these series, so it's a good start for him, at least against Zest.
Yeah, definitely. Trap now needs to close this series out. 2-0 is exactly really what he needs. And in that map, he definitely looked to be the more competent player, the more confident player. He dealt with that defense very well. I liked what Zest is trying to do, but Trap saw it. He saw those invisible units without detection, and one force field won him the game. That's all he needed, was a force field. He pulled the probes, and they ended up living, which is just like crazy. Usually, you'd expect a recall from the main, but he just sent them for a run, and a very good win there for Trap.
Yeah, Trap not scouting that Dark Shrine would have been a death sentence for a lesser player. He did a really nice job thinking on his feet. Luckily, he had the sentries out for part of his Stalker army already. And with the Phoenix, he was able to clean up the Warp Prism and sort of zone a couple other things out. So really well done by Trap there in game 1. Hopefully, he can spin this into a win. If Trap is able to win this one, that'll put both Trap and Zest at a 1-2 record in this group. A bit of an awkward position for both of them, but certainly a big win for Trap here. Grant, if he loses the next two games and the series overall, Trap going 0-3 would almost certainly be a death sentence for his run in this group.
Yeah, definitely. Dream isn't having a good run either, but everyone else is doing pretty good. Estrella, Zest, everyone, having a decent tournament. No one else is really floundering here. Is that a real word, floundering? Don't know.
Floundering, yes.
That's what I was looking for, floundering. So we move into Oxide here for map 2. Zest is no doubt going to throw out something very cheeky, something aggressive here. That seems to be his wheelhouse for this tournament. It's going to be up to Trap to defend, as it was for Estrella in our first series of the day. Right now, Trap leading 1-0. Creighton, we're getting into Oxide. Let's see how it goes. Once I find your camera, so many people in this. Oh, you're number 4 today. Okay. Our first player in the top right of Oxide, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming. He is the blue Protoss player from South Korea. Needs to bring it back. It's Zest.
And his opponent on the bottom left-hand side in the red, representing the Africa Freaks and South Korea. He's Trap. Grant, did you notice that both of these players have the traditional Korean Protoss Grandmaster logos loading into game? They're both the base level Kadinsky portrait with the Zealot on the run. Identical splash screens from both players on these accounts.
That's what makes a good Protoss player. That's what everyone in Twitch chat's been missing. They just have the wrong profile picture. That's the only difference.
My favorite one I've ever heard is, I think it was Pig played a game against a Protoss player who had a Zerg, the Zagara portrait, and the Zerg splash screen on his splash screen when he goes into the game. And so Pig was like, so I prepped to play a Zerg player. He just looked at the splash screen and was like, oh, okay, I'm up against a Zerg player. Did a PvP opener and then got wrecked by a 12 pool because he wasn't ready for it. He's like, this guy fooled me. I can't remember if it was Pig or somebody else. It's something like that, but it was a great story.
That's the kind of thing he would do, definitely. Now we do see blocks coming down here. Zest has blocked off Trap's natural.
Whoa!
Zest getting the frag as well here onto that probe. A little bit annoying. I mean, every probe dead is important here. Zest's now going to regenerate its shields, run around and go for a scout. We see a block on either side now as well. Cybercore blocks. Most likely the follow-up, depending on, Zealots are coming in. As long as the probe survives. It's a pretty standard way when you do go for this low ground expansion that you are going to go for the block here, as you don't have that second gateway quite fast enough. Going to see the cancel there, actually, by Trap. Slightly surprising. Most players let that complete. May go down and throw another one down just to save a little bit of money. Cybercore. No.
Yeah, neither player getting this full Cybercore block here. Zest might be a cheeky boy and go back and grab the pylon again. He sometimes does that, but seems unlikely. Meanwhile, we've got tier 2 tech from both players. Now, Grant, Zest has a very unusual MLG lazy scouting pattern here in the main base, where he's missing that top little nook and cranny of Zest's base, and of Trap's base, and Trap is able to hide his Stargate up on the north side, whereas I do believe Trap has seen the Stargate. No, he's not yet either. Yeah, I know. Gosh darn it. Goes up and sees it, so he's just fine here. It looks like we're ready to rock and roll. Both players have scouted out what they're up against. Stargate v Stargate, finishing at almost exactly the same times. Phoenix from Trap. I expect a Phoenix from Zest as well. Is this going to be an... Oh my god, he's going Void Ray, Grant.
Ooh, okay. Well, I mean, this is a very Zest thing to do, definitely, to go for that very quick Void Ray. Full wall in as well. Means that the Trap's not going to be able to scout the natural. He's not going to know if it has gone down. We may see Zest pull his Void Rays a little bit. He may also move out and try to use them for harassment and to pick off the low number of Phoenixes. This Void Rays can do that in low numbers. I'm interested to see where Zest is going to go with this. That's where 2 more gateways. Okay, he's going to go up to 3 Stargate. This is going to be a whole bunch of units here for Zest, and it's going to be scouted here by Trap, which is very important. The Phoenix didn't go all the way in, actually. That's frustrating, but they will certainly go for a scout pretty soon. We see both players adding on shield batteries to make sure they don't take any unnecessary damage, and actually right now Trap has been forced to make a whole bunch of shield batteries.
Yeah, he's very concerned about this all-in play from Zest. The good news is he's got these Phoenix out, and he still does have pretty decent energy on 1-2 of the Phoenix as a third pops out now. He's going to lose a few of his own units on the ground. He doesn't have that much right now to defend, just 1 Adept, but as you said, with the shield batteries and with all of this Phoenix energy, he should be able to hold this back. Zest, though, picking Trap apart piece by piece here. Trap has got to get something else in the field. Very difficult to do when you're only on 1 gateway, Grant.
Especially when Trap attacks his own pylon for a few shots there. This 1 gateway is going to go under siege here, and that means Phoenixes are going to be the main deciding force here. We can already see proxy shield batteries coming in here from Zest. It's a very Zest build right now, as we said. No natural down for either player when all is said and done. And the Phoenixes cannot afford to die here. Void Rays, there are only 2 right now, no third one on its way either. So it is going to be a whole bunch of Stalkers alongside this, but there are now no more gateways for Trap, right? He's building 2 more, but this is going to be so difficult for him.
Correct. No gateways left for Trap, meaning all of his DPS has to come from those Phoenix, and he's got to use those shield batteries perfectly. But now Zest has his own counter shield batteries up. His Stalker count up to 8. There are 2 Stalkers and 1 Adept on the ground for Trap right now, but that is not very much. And notably, the Cybercore under siege, only about a quarter of the health left. If that Cybercore does go down, Grant, not only no more Stalkers or Adepts, but more importantly in this situation, no more shield batteries. And now we find Trap in a very difficult position as Zest's all-in play is going gangbusters here. Note, Trap has no natural either, Grant. This is not a question of waiting out the enemy. This is a question of breaking free.
Yeah, definitely. Zest has a couple more workers out here. Sorry, a couple less workers out here. Trap has a few more, but the pylon going to be targeted down. It is not an Artosis pylon, so down will be a little bit happy with that. There is only 1 more powering this, so GG, Zest evens it up. Oh my god, Trap could go 0-3.
You know, I liked Trap's position there. Going with the Phoenix first usually gives you enough time to defend against a counter Stargate. Zest, however, as you said, adding on those additional gateways, going for a very aggressive early game push, had a really nice read on Trap, scouting his Stargate, seeing the early Phoenix coming out. That was a really great move there from Zest. And I think he made the right call to strike early and strike often. Grant, this is something we've talked about with every Zest game we've had today. He is a player who loves the early game. He is a player who bathes in the blood of his enemies in the morning, not in the evening. He likes to get things done right away, and we've been seeing that over and over and over again. If Zest is able to execute an early game strategy unhindered, he is able to turn that into a dub.
I mean, I don't know if you've had the opportunity to to watch Cobra Kai, but it seems like Zest has, because he is striking early, he is striking hard, and he is showing no mercy. So definitely would be a part of that, you know, yeah, bad karate movie. I mean, he looks like he'd be a kick-ass martial artist too. That's just ridiculous. Okay, now we move on to Death Aura for map 3. It is a decent-sized map. It's a very normal map here. What is Zest going to throw at Trap? That's what's going through Trap's head right now, I can almost guarantee you. What do I have to defend against? It's going to be extraordinarily difficult. I mean, that's the kind of game that really throws you off a little bit. So we now wait to see how this is going to go.
Sorry, doing some admin stuff on the backside. You're right, Grant. Death Aura for game number 2. For game number 3, my God. And this is where things get really nail-bitingly bad for Trap. It's a shame we don't have player cams on this B stream, Grant. I'm sure his visage is pained right now after losing that game. And if he loses this third one, it's going to be a very, very difficult day in Trap World.
For now, we load in, and our first player in the top left, the player we are speaking of, representing the Afrika Freaks, a Red Protoss player from South Korea. It is Trap.
And his opponent, the bottom right-hand side in the blue, pulling off a fantastic aggressive win in game number 2 to draw things even here. He is from Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Trap's fellow South Korean countryman, Zest.
You really stalled that one at the wrong point, didn't you? Wait, was going down for both. But a little bit of a differential.
No, I didn't.
Zest getting his up on the high ground.
Tiny.
Yeah.
And Trap there on the low ground. You're absolutely correct, Grant. These are both going to be spotted. Of course, Probe Scout's so essential this game. One thing that Trap and Zest have been doing really, really well over the course of both these games is scouting, Grant. Sometimes I love that little... Did you see that little dipsy dodge from Zest? That's so smart. He moved his probe in just a little bit to this area where you would normally go if you were gonna cannon rush on Death Aura, which is a great map for cannon rushing in PvP. We saw Zest cannon rush Estrella on this map earlier. So what he did is he moves his probe in, right, and then dips just a little bit into this area in the top corner above the ramp. And so with that dip, it immediately, like, Trap knows, like, oh man, something is up, something weird is going on, forcing Trap to send a second probe down a little bit earlier to check what's going on, to see if he missed something. That was really smart from Trap. It's those little tiny things that make this such a good battle between these players who have played each other, what, probably every single day for the last 10 years?
Yeah, a lot of games between these two, almost certainly. And it comes down to mind games. We've said this once and we'll say it a million times. Zest is most likely going to be the aggressor. It's how he's played every match we've seen this tournament of him so far. He has never been the one to sit back, to expand and try and hold. He has been the one to just throw everything at his opponent and see what sticks. The differences in builds here are the openings, of course, being in different positions, and also those first 2 units coming out of the gateway. Trap is going for double adepts. That does mean his initial defense could be a little bit weaker. We do see Trap actually, he's going to try and do something a bit cheeky here. This is a perfect location for a proxy Stargate, and I imagine that's what we'll see from Trap. But it will probably need to find some damage because Zest is going to be at the other side of the map pretty shortly. So far, we've seen no tech from Zest, and of course, no natural going down. Excuse me. But he's producing a whole bunch of stalkers. He's getting another gateway, a third gateway already, Creighton.
Yeah, but there's the proxy from Trap as well. So it's going to be 3 gate versus proxy robo, which is a really interesting choice. I liked your analysis there, Grant. This proxy pylon is really interesting because there are so many options for a proxy from this specific location. You can go Stargate because it's so linear and you can get right into the natural and then zip into the main from here. You can go for a forward gateway because it's a fairly short run, right? Into the third, into the natural, into the main. Or you can do this robo play from Trap, which is really exciting. Grant, talk me through, what does a proxy robo say to you about Trap's intentions here? And is he going to have trouble defending against Zest's initial stalkers?
The concern here is the timing, because these stalkers are coming right now. And this is a good old-fashioned free gate here from Trap. From Zest. We have 3 gates that are going to be whooping in a whole bunch of stalkers. It's very important every player saves every unit right now. They're going to need them. Zest is actually looking down at the third base to see if there's anything there. Is he going to move over to the fourth? No, he's going to reinforce actually to make sure he saves his units. That's a big non-scout. But Trap has actually not been able to get all of his units together with the Immortal. And now we see the fight coming in. Zest does have that accelerator zone to use to micro here. But it looks like Trap is actually microing that a little bit better. Oh, it's so close right now, Creighton.
Very, very nice here. We are going to see the reinforcements from the north from Zest. That's actually going to surprise the crap out of Trap from that pylon that was at the 12 o'clock that I thought might be for something else. But now, yeah, we see Trap retreating here with the one singular adept that got away. I wish we could pull up the battle report to show you exactly what units were lost and what were saved. But that's okay. He is going to force a recall out of Trap to defend his territory here. Neither player is expanded yet, Grant, which means that this is still anybody's game. A very, very difficult situation, though, for Trap.
Yeah, this is still very, very difficult. The good thing for Trap is that Zest doesn't have Blink and he can't immediately pounce on this Immortal and these Sentries, because the actual standing army for Trap right now is very, very weak. A force field save the day. We're seeing a couple more Stalkers coming in here, but the Immortal cannot take a step too far forward, and we do have a drop coming in from Trap here.
Just a couple of depths in the main base, which aren't synced up on their shots, which is a bit of a shame because they could be picking off a couple probes here. Should see a little bit of a warp in from Trap, though, I imagine, to pressure them. And that's going to force a recall here out of Zest, which is exactly what Trap needs. This is not necessarily, he's not excited about the recall necessarily, but, well, okay. He's excited about the recall for two reasons. One, takes a lot of pressure off his front. He lost 2 gateways in that attack. He's down to just the 1 gateway that he has at his proxy location, Grant. But also, it means that Zest is being forced back to respond to his damage as well. So, really well done there by Trap. He's got to be excited about that recall, but right now it's just buying him some time. I'm still very concerned about his position this game. Losing 2 gateways is very difficult to come back from, Grant. We saw it in the previous game when Trap lost some gateways and simply couldn't reinforce quickly enough. And now with the Warp Prisms in play, this is a tough sell for both players.
I really think Trap's making the wrong decision here. I don't think he needs to just go all in like this. I think he should have macroed out of it. Sure, Zest has a lot of units right now, but Trap's got great tech. He would have been okay moving forward. If Zest can hold, Zest will win. He has the Prism here to help with a micro, to give these Stalkers that don't have blink. And this is where Zest is a special kind of player, where it is just a straight up micro battle, some incredible observing by a dedicated observer. And now with the Immortal coming out, this is now a very close battle. If that Prism goes down, this game will end for Trap.
Oh man, that Sentry got a couple shots on the Prism as well. This is surprising that the Warp Prism for Zest has a Stalker in it intentionally to pick off that Warp Prism, but the Immortal's focus fire down Trap's Zest Stalker, and Trap does escape, but that was a disastrous attack from Trap, as you said, Grant. Zest's natural is down right now, which means that this is no longer an even fight. This is a wait out the clock, hold out challenge for Zest. As long as he can stay alive for a little bit longer, he can win, and this is looking worse and worse for Trap the longer this goes on. The Warp Prism from Trap so damaged, Grant.
Yeah, I mean, the shields have regenerated a little bit, and that's really saving his bacon right now. We do see Zest going to retreat. He is even in workers, but he has that natural to fall back on. And if we look at the main bases, I imagine they're getting closer to mining out at this point. Yeah, we can see already some of those patches getting very, very low. Only 14 workers here, actually. As Trap, it doesn't even have all his workers fully saturated. He has one just chilling. This Prism, if it goes down, this is going to be so awful for Trap. He's down in supply. This is a bad fight. Look how many Adepts. There's Zealots. There's everything here right now for Zest, who is up 12 army supply, and he's on the chase.
It's really bad for Trap, who loses 1 Immortal there immediately. It was so low on health, and now the Warp Prism under fire. GG, Grant. Unbelievable. Trap has been